I've spent way too much time looking for real ways to earn money. Hi everyone, I'm Gaius, a Singaporean waiting to study at NUS, and one of the things I want to try to do in university is to save $100,000 before I graduate. Whether this is possible or not, who knows, but I know that if I set this as the goal and I try to work towards it, I'll be more likely to save more money than if I did not set any goals at all. Anyways, I spent a lot of time researching how to make money while in university, and it took me a really long time, like a surprising long time. It's difficult to find good options for university students in Singapore to make money while studying. However, I managed to come up with a list of ways that a university student can make money that is relatively time efficient and would probably be good for their CVs in some cases. But anyways, the reason I'm making this video is to save you guys time so that you guys don't have to do the research I did. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I wanted to explain a criteria I came up with for rating all of these jobs so that you guys understand where I'm coming from and the things I considered when making this list. So the first thing I considered is time. Time is important for a student, obviously, because you're juggling both your studies and earning money. So the hourly rate of compensation you receive is quite important. So the second thing is earning potential. What is the maximum you can earn from this job? So earning potential is relative and it's also highly dependent on related to time. It's very related to time because a lot of times the amount of money you can earn is directly correlated to the amount of time you spend working. However, there are some jobs where this isn't true and I'll talk about them later as well. So the third criteria, which I think is quite important for students, is CV worthiness. So how good will this look on your CV or resume? So this is important because out of university, you're going out straight to work. So you would want to have things on your resume that look good. Whether it's part-time jobs, internships or stuff like that, or just having your own side hustle that is actually relevant to the field you're going to work in. So it's not that easy to find stuff that is CV worthy that a college student can do while studying, but I managed to come up with some examples. So the fourth criteria is consistency. So consistency wise, there are a lot of jobs that you can make a huge amount of money on. However, they are kind of like a glass cannon, so sometimes you make huge amounts of money and then you go months without making any money. One very good example, which we'll talk about later, is being a property agent. So you can make a huge amount when you sell a house, but you might not be able to sell a house every single year. Or you'll go months without selling a house sometimes, and sometimes you'll even go years. So what makes you think you will be able to do that while in university? Anyways, we'll talk about it later. So the last criteria is barrier to entry. So is there any special certification you need in order to work at this job? Is there anything that will stop you from working at this job? Like, do you need certain certifications? Do you need a certain level of academic performance? Is it difficult to get in? That's basically what I mean by barrier to entry. So yeah, we'll look at all the options and then I'll kind of give a rating based on where I think this option for making money while in university stands. Okay, so if my throat sounds raspy, it's because my throat is raspy. I just taught a tuition class and I also made a few videos because I kind of wanted to be more efficient, so I kind of tried making 2 or 3 videos at once and then I'll be editing them all next week and then hopefully I'll have content for about 1 month after that. Anyways, the first option I have on my list is actually part-time jobs and internships. The reason I'm grouping it together is because it's very straightforward and I wanted to get it out of the way. So, part-time jobs and internships, if it's an internship, you'll be very CV worthy. Chances are you'll be interning in somewhere related to your field of study. However, if it's a part-time job, it's probably worthless on your CV. And also, it's gonna get a 1 out of 5 time rating from me because you're gonna spend so much time and you're usually paid on an hourly rate for internships and jobs. So I want to differentiate this from being a summer analyst, which we'll talk about later, or doing a summer internship. The summer internships you do in university are typically like 3 to 6 months, and those internships tend to pay a lot better. However, part-time positions and part-time internships and part-time jobs don't usually pay that much. So even if you're like a 2nd or 3rd year university student, a part-time internship might only pay you 10 per hour. So it's really not worth pursuing if you're in it just for the money. But if you want to get some CV points, then I guess it's worth considering. So for CV worthy, I'll put it in the middle of the road because if it's a part-time job, it's not worth anything, but if it's a internship, it's probably worth a lot. So middle of the road, 3 out of 5. I think I've mentioned that I rate earning potential and time 1 out of 5, but I'll repeat it again in case I forgot. So for consistency, I'll rate it 5 out of 5 because well, you're working at an hourly rate. So long you put in the hours, you are going to get paid. And usually they will give you a minimum commitment, minimum number of hours you need to commit per week. So it's kind of like they're forcing you to be consistent as well. And as for barriers to entry, if you're a student in university, I'll rate this 1 out of 5 because even if you can't get into big companies and stuff like that for internships, you can probably approach SMEs and even small firms. And well, for part-time jobs, you can literally apply to anything. You could work at NTUC, you could work in F&B, you could be a waiter, and you'll be paid a fixed hourly rate. So yeah, I don't think that's a real problem. So I'll give barrier to entry. I'll give barrier to entry 5 out of 5 because it's a good thing if the barrier to entry is low. Okay, so the next one I want to cover is what I actually do myself, which is private tutoring. This is like the most popular part-time job for NUS students in particular. I'm not sure why, but almost every NUS alumni or senior I spoke to has taught private tuition in some capacity. So if you really want to earn the big bucks, I suggest you try teaching A-level or IB tuition. So this typically pays a lot more than PSLE and O-levels, and IB tuition is actually highly sought for. So one cool option you have if you are teaching IB is you could do online classes with students from overseas, and they tend to pay top dollar for Singaporean students to teach them. I'm not familiar with the IB syllabus, so I mostly teach secondary and JC tuition, but if you are familiar with the IB syllabus and you could probably sign up on some online agency and you're able to find students, you're going to be earning a lot of money. So ratings time. So for time, I think this depends on your hourly rate. Like I said, it's a very high hourly rate. You can literally work 1 to 2 hours a week and still make decent income. So in this case, time and earning potential once again are tied together because you're being paid on an hourly rate. So I'll rate both of these 3.5 out of 5. I think that's a fair score. Yeah, and sort of one of the things that caps your earning potential, I guess it's another thing that will affect your earning potential, is how many students you can find. So in terms of time, I think it's pretty good hourly rate. I'll rate it. I changed my mind. I'm going to rate this separately. So in this case, time, I'll rate it 2 out of 5 because you're still earning an hourly rate, and the hourly rate is decent. It's not particularly high. However, I think your earning potential here is extremely high. If you're able to find multiple students and you're able to combine into a group class, you'll be able to earn more per hour, which is what I did before phase 2 or like CB2 or whatever Singapore government wants to call it started again. Your earning potential is pretty high, so long you can find students. Okay, so how CV worthy is this? I guess it's extremely CV worthy if you want to be a teacher. And it's also CV worthy either way because you can put it on your LinkedIn profile, say you're an independent private tutor, and people will generally assume that you're proficient in whatever you're studying. So yeah, I guess it's pretty CV worthy, but I won't rank it too high, so I'll give it maybe a 2 out of 5. So for consistency, I'll actually rank this surprisingly high. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Private tutoring is very consistent once you amass a good student base, and well, unless you're taking all like maybe O-level students nearing their exams or something like that, usually these students will stick with you for pretty long. So I think I'll rate consistency 4 out of 5, and for barrier to entry, well, you just need decent grades at one subject, and if you're going to university, chances are you have good grades at least 1 or 2 subjects. So I'll rate this 3 out of 5 because you're also competing with a lot of other students because there are many private tutors out there. Yeah, I guess that's one other thing to consider. So for barrier to entry, I'll rate it maybe 3 out of 5. Okay, another interesting option I've heard of is actually one where you are just a teaching assistant on campus. So I heard that it's possible in year 3 or year 4 for you to become a teaching assistant in your university for level 1K module subjects in NUS. And I've heard that it's possible in other universities to be a teaching assistant as well. So I think this is very CV worthy. So let me just get that out of the way. But okay, you know what? I'll just go in order. So for time commitment, I think this is probably another 1 out of 5. You're paid an hourly rate and it's not particularly high. I think your earning potential is also about 1 out of 5. Next, is it CV worthy? I'll rate this maybe 5 out of 5 because it just looks incredibly good if you're able to teach a bunch of college students the subject you're studying in, which is likely related to the field you'll be working in. So I think that will look really good on your CV, and that's why I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Okay, next, barrier to entry. I think this is actually pretty high. I think the barrier to entry might make me give it something like a 1 or 2 out of 5 because it's incredibly difficult for you to be a teaching assistant. You basically need to be one of the top students of your cohort, which means probably less than 30 students every year are able to do this job, I guess, because you need to be the top in your respective faculty. So yeah, barrier to entry is really high. I'll give this a 1 or 2 out of 5. Okay, another way you can make money while in university that's quite interesting is you can make money through your CCA. So this only applies to specific CCAs, but in NUS, there's a data analytics CCA, which I heard about during the CHS orientation, where they mentioned that students are actually given corporate projects and they get a small financial incentive to do the work. So like they get a small compensation for the work they do, and they're able to build their portfolio, work on real life projects, and it's honestly really cool. I'm sure there are other CCAs with similar options that give you a chance to work on real world projects and make some money while doing it, but the only one I've heard of so far is the data analytics CCA or something like that in NUS. That's a pretty cool option, I think. In terms of time commitment and earning potential, I think it ranks pretty low. Maybe 1 and 2 out of 5. 1 or 2 out of 5. In terms of CV worthiness, I think getting real work experience is very valuable, so I'll give this a 3 or 4 out of 5. In terms of consistency, I don't know how often the NUS sources for projects, so I'm gonna give this a question mark because I honestly don't know. And in terms of barrier to entry, I think it's pretty low. You just need to join the CCA. So yeah. Okay, next option is being a financial advisor or insurance agent. Almost every guy right out of national service will receive some sort of DM on their LinkedIn or like a DM on Instagram or something like that, asking if you want to work for us and draw an allowance of $2,000 or something like that, you'll be a financial advisor. However, what they don't tell you is that often there's a sales target to meet in order to continue receiving that $2,000 per month. So, what is a financial advisor? In Singapore, financial advisors are usually just glorified insurance agents. There's very little independent financial advisors who have no incentive to sell you anything. So, if you join this profession, you're basically becoming a salesperson. So, what I like and don't like about this job is the people aspect. So, it's really cool to have a job that is related to working with friends and family and stuff like that. In fact, I nearly considered joining this profession, but I realized that one problem is that that line between friend and prospect or client gets blurred. So your friends might suspect that you're prospecting them even when you're just genuinely trying to make friends, and that might make it difficult socially in university. It's really warm. Do I recommend this job personally? I say not in your first year of university. Anyways, you need to be of the age of 21 to do this job, and for many of you entering university, like guys, you might be born in December and you have to wait a couple of months. Or for girls, you are probably 19 when you enter university, so it's not an option until you're year 3. Let me go through the ratings. I kind of got carried away. I forgot about ratings. So time-wise, I think for a financial advisor or insurance agent, for a financial advisor or insurance agent, I'll probably rate it 3 to 4 out of 5 in terms of time. Because every year you need to meet a certain number of hours in terms of classes, and every week you probably need to be in the office for a couple of hours as well, and you need to prospect clients and all of that, so it does take up some amount of time. However, the reason it's getting such a high score is because you basically kind of do it on your own time, and it's very flexible. So as a student, I think it's not just the total number of working hours, but the flexibility of the working hours that matters. So because of that, this is quite a good pick if you're worried about time. In terms of earning potential, I'll rate this 5 out of 5. So the problem with this job, like I said, is that your earnings is completely dependent on your ability to sell to people. So in terms of risk, it's quite high, which is why I'm giving a consistent rating of 1. But in terms of earning potential, so long you're able to source new clients, you can earn literally unlimited amounts of money. So in that sense, I'll probably rate it 5 out of 5. Now, CV worthy. So this is the one where I'm really unsure what to rank it as, because I've seen certain like investment banking internships put that they value financial advisory experience, or like experience in like AIA and stuff like that, but I'm very skeptical if this applies to all financial institutions. I think some financial institutions actually dislike you having this part-time job because there might be some conflict of interest between them as well as the insurance agency you work for. If you're not working in finance, then this is completely unrelated, so it's a 0 for CV worthiness. But if you're planning to work in finance in future, I might rate this a 3. Anyways, if you work in investment banking, you probably also need to talk to clients and stuff like that, so the skills you learn from being a financial advisor might be appreciated there. Consistency, like I said, is a 1 out of 5, and barrier to entry, I think it's practically 0 because they literally, 5 out of 5. Because like I'll give it a score of 5 out of 5. How easy is it to enter this industry? Because for guys, when you freshly ORD, you're literally approached by them, so the barrier to entry is really low. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 in terms of how easy it is to get into the industry. Okay, the next one is property agent, very similar to being a financial advisor. Time-wise, I think this takes quite little time unless you're helping a client source for a house to buy, or if you're on the buy side, it's probably quite tiring. You might even need a car to drive them around. 2 or 3 out of 5 for time. In terms of earning potential, this is where I'll rate it a 5 out of 5. If you sell a house that's really expensive, you get 2% of the commission, which is quite insane. Like, if you sell a condo that's worth 2 million, you could potentially earn $2,000. Wait, 2,000? That's not right. You could potentially earn $40,000. I can't believe I got the math wrong. So the earning potential is incredibly high. CV worthiness, I think it's also like financial advisory, 3 out of 5. Depends on the industry you want to work in. And so for consistency, I'll rate this a 0 out of 5. It's incredibly inconsistent. How many people are selling their houses every year anyways? I'm quite sure there's a surplus of property agents out there. Barrier to entry, you need to pass some examinations and stuff like that. Not too difficult. I'll rate it a 5 out of 5 for barrier to entry as well. You could just sort of approach any property agency and they're quite willing to have you on board. Oh, I forgot to mention that for financial advisory work, you will have to pass some examinations as well. But because I was attempting to take those examinations, I kind of saw most of the materials and it's really easy. It's MCQ exam, I think, and yeah, you're not gonna have any problems with it at all. Okay, the next option is kind of weird, is freelancing. So a lot of you guys would have like certain random skills that you've picked up over time, like perhaps you're good at drawing, you're good at photography. I know photography is very common. Maybe you have a drone license and you can fly a drone. So you could freelance and sell out your services on Fiverr or something like that. Or you could, just start an Instagram page and promote yourself, and you could freelance at whatever you're doing. So the earning potential of this is incredibly high. The time commitment is low as well. Those two get a 5 out of 5. However, is it CV worthy? Only if you're in the art and film industry, I guess. And it also depends what you're freelancing as. Obviously, people freelance as small stuff. Like, I wanted to learn web development to freelance as a freelance web developer, but I haven't. Consistency, I'll rate this a 0 out of 5. Your income will be very inconsistent and dependent on your ability to source for clients and build a reputation. Barrier to entry, 0 out of 5. You can literally start an Instagram page and start trying to promote yourself anytime you want. Okay, there's a few more, but it's getting quite tiring. I'll just kind of go through them quickly. So the next option is e-commerce. Time, probably 5 out of 5. Earning potential, 5 out of 5. CV worthy, 0 out of 5. Consistency, probably 1 out of 5. And barrier to entry, 5 out of 5. It's really easy to enter. You can set up a Shopify store really easily. Will you succeed though? That's the question. It's very unlikely you'll make large sums of money. Let's just put it that way. I'm starting a business. So this one is quite interesting. I actually have friends who have started a business of some sort. Flush SG. They're an alcohol delivery company in Singapore. They're licensed and they're a limited liability partnership and stuff like that. I also have friends who started other companies, which I'm not going to mention. It's quite an interesting option because this could potentially become your full-time career, and the risk is actually relatively low when you're a student. So a lot of people have this impression that starting a business is this very big thing. You need large amounts of capital and stuff like that, but you actually don't. I mean, you could literally start a company just by registering it, and you just need to pay a certain amount of money to register your company, and you can literally start a company that does anything. So in the case of products, you could literally just order in products from overseas and start a company that sells those products. Market yourself, market the product, sell the product, earn money, and then, file your taxes, stuff like that. It's not too difficult. The issue is, of course, finding people to buy your product, which is why reading books on marketing is probably quite valuable in this day and age. That's something we should talk about another time. Starting a business, time and earning potential. Time, I'll rate it 1 out of 5. It takes if you actually try to start a business as a student, it's going to take up enormous amounts of your time. Unless, of course, you're selling like a digital product or service that you make once and you sell forever. However, the likelihood of that succeeding is pretty low, especially if you're a college student with no credibility. So most likely products are your best bet, and it's probably other people's products, not your own. Earning potential, 5 out of 5. Of course, like, it's unlimited, but again, don't have your hopes too high. Yeah. Don't set your hopes too high. Consistency, I'll rate it as 0 out of 5. It's incredibly inconsistent and completely dependent on your ability to sell. And barrier to entry, it's lower than most people think. I'll give this a 4 out of 5. Okay, the last one is obviously scholarships. If you need income while studying, a scholarship is an incredibly good idea. If you want to look at scholarship options, you can check out Bright Sparks. They are a website somewhere, and they have a lot of scholarship options listed there as for Singaporean students. Also check out your own faculty or campus or school to see if there's any scholarships that are offered for good academic performance. Those are usually the ones students will aim for, and it's quite easy to get. Anyways, personally, what do I recommend? I'll recommend you do what I do, obviously, because if I'm doing it, it's probably what I think is viable and makes the most sense. So I'll recommend teaching private tuition and aiming for a scholarship, because as a university student, you might have these hopes and dreams of making big bucks, but honestly, it's not worth jeopardizing your academics just for the sake of earning a lot of money in the present. Doing well in your degree and meeting new people, going for internships, and building your CV is probably more crucial at this stage of life than earning more money to spend. Okay, anyways, that was a very rambly video. I'm sorry it's not very well planned. I'm just trying to, finish this video. I'm really tired. I can't speak properly, I keep slurring, and I'm sorry if this video is a complete mess. The other reason I'm filming this video is just to test out my new setup. I actually have a giant light over here. You know what, I might show it to you guys. Hold on. So I actually bought this studio light and I haven't used it yet, so I wanted to test it out by filming a video. So yeah, this is the video I came up with. I didn't script it very well. I'm tired, I'm slurring, and my throat hurts. So sorry if this video doesn't have the best audio quality and isn't the most engaging or interesting, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I'll leave a playlist of random videos that I've made. I might leave I'll leave a playlist that has all the videos I ever made, including the horrible production quality ones, so you guys can see how far I've come. I'm planning to work long term on this channel. Hopefully I'll become a cool YouTuber like Daniel Tamago or Dagoyaki or Ali Abdal or something like that. For now, this is just a hobby and I just plan to keep doing it and see where this goes. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.